and the day is different. Okay, let's see. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyanti Mirandasya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Pite. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gyananjan Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Sapadantikam. He Krishna Karina Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namastite Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pachayane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschatya Deshadayane. Okay, we start with a new chapter, Transcendental Knowledge or Gyan Yoga. Let's pay our obeisances to Shri Radha Govinda before we proceed. This is what we did in chapter 3. What is the name of chapter 3? In Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, what is the name of the chapter? We're only 4 people, we can talk to each other.
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga. That's uske aage. So Karma Yoga. Okay, the 5th chapter is the Yoga of Action. Okay, so in that chapter, we studied Arjuna asked this question, renunciation or action. Then Krishna built the chapter by explaining Nishkam Karma Yoga, then Karma Kantu Karma Yoga, and lead by example and what is the greatest enemy or the greatest barrier. What is the greatest enemy in executing Krishna consciousness? What did Krishna say? Is it someone who is outside of us, or what is the greatest enemy?
Lust, Mataji.
Very nice. And what is Krishna comparing lust to? What are the analogies given? Very quickly, ज़्यादा time भी नहीं है आज.
To animal life, plant life, and the embryo, the various degrees of
That's
lust.
plant life. That's plant life, and then the birds, right? That's one. Very
Yes.
nice. Thank you. And what other is the example analogy that Krishna gives?
The embryo in the womb, Mataji.
The 3.
Covered by dust.
Say again, Anya Mataji.
Mirror covered by dust.
So yeah, there are 3 analogies. One is smoke covering the fire, mirror covered with dust, embryo covered by the womb. And then there's another analogy where Krishna says lust is like a fire which is burning with a constant supply of the fuel, right? The more you fuel it, the more it burns. So the lust is like that. Okay, the more you go to satisfy it, the more it burns. So it will never be satisfied by trying to satisfy it. So how do we curb it? What is the remedy that Krishna gives? How do we curb it? How do we curb it? And Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami gives an elaborate definition of lust, which is Atmendra Tipti Vancha Taru Nam Kam, Krishnendra Tipti Vancha Taru Dharo Prem. And the desire to satisfy one's own desires, one's own sense gratification is lust. It's a broader definition. So how do we curb it? What is the remedy that Krishna gives in 3rd chapter to curb the greatest enemy? Yahaverinam.
Higher consciousness.
Okay. Krishna says curb this symbol of sin, right? From the beginning of one's life. You don't remember curb? This curb means like control it, which includes 2 meanings, which is from the very beginning of one's life, one should be practiced and trained in the principles of Krishna consciousness. And the other is that as soon as the thought of sense gratification comes, we have to dismiss it. Because Krishna explains in 2nd chapter, Dhyate Vishyan Punsah Sangasya Sanjayate, right? That verse. I am assuming that I am making sense, but I don't know. Now, in this chapter, there are 42 verses. And then its chapter is, for the sake of understanding, is divided into 5 sections. We'll see if we can finish section 1 today, where Krishna talks about transcendental knowledge. Then Krishna as the goal of all paths and the creator of Varnashram system. Then Karma Yoga, then different sacrifices that lead to transcendental knowledge, and summary of transcendental knowledge. So far, Krishna is building towards bhakti, right? So far he has given the way of Karma Yoga. And now he's going to say how to become Krishna conscious by Jnana Yoga, which is by cultivation of transcendental knowledge. Gyan doesn't mean any knowledge. Gyan means transcendental knowledge. Okay, which forms the first section. So the importance of parampara. What is the importance of parampara? Why can't we just, buy a Bhagavad Gita and read it and then say that, okay, I have become Krishna conscious now? Why do we need to parampara? What is the importance of taking shelter of a spiritual master, initiation, accepting instructions? What is the importance? What is the-
Mataji, Hare Krishna, it has to come from, like experienced persons, like been there, done that kinds. And only if we follow the acharyas who have done it, so then we can actually get a proper understanding of this Krishna consciousness, Mataji. Otherwise, if we just read other books that have been like written by mundane people, then we might not understand, because they're not like in the actual parampara, which is described from Krishna and followed successively. And yes, Mataji, that's my understanding.
Nice. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, I will go ahead. So transcendental go ahead, Mataji.
The knowledge that's coming from the parampara is genuine. There's no misinterpretation. So that is going to have an effect on you, and so, and that's how the way to march forward.
Yeah, very nice, because it's unbroken
Yeah.
chain. Very nice.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaji, Danpada Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, that knowledge which is imparted by the Supreme Lord won't be adulterated. The way people add lot of things themselves. The real knowledge will be misinterpreted. The knowledge which is spoken by God himself, the same knowledge will be imparted till the
Very
end
nice.
of this Kali Yuga.
Yes. Thank you. So Krishna, this reveals the truth about Krishna's form, his birth, and his activities. The parampara can give it to us. Knowing this truth, one who takes shelter of Krishna becomes purified and attains Krishna. So it's not that just by reading a book we'll be able to understand everything. Prabhupada gives example of somebody wanting to become an engineer or a doctor. The books are available in the market, no? They can just go and buy books. And then will they be called as a certified person just because they read the books from the market? Or do you really one has to really go through the process of training under the supervision of a teacher?
One needs to go to a teacher.
Yeah, that has more authenticity than just by reading the book, because by reading the book, we may be misinterpreting the information. So to understand the information in the book, one needs the parampara. So that is why Guru, Sadhu, and then Shastra. So there's Guru, and there's Sadhu, and then comes the Shastra. That's the way it is written. This is the first verse. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manur Ikshava Akave Abravid. The Blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshavaku. So Krishna gave it to Vivasvan, who is sun god. Sun god gave it to his son, who is Swambhu Manu. There's 7 Manus, but 14 Manus actually in the day of Brahma. But we are talking about Swambhu Manu. This Manu refers to Swambhu Manu. And Manu gave it to his son Ikshavaku. And then Ikshavaku is the one who brought it to earth. Evam parampara praptam imam rajashraya vidhu sakalena mahata yogo nashta parantapa. The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But sakalena mahata yogo nashta parantapa. But because of the time, in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Okay, so with the time factor, the succession was broken, even though Ikshvaku brought it to Rajarishayo Vidhu. So saintly kings, not just kings. Krishna is referring those kings who understood this transcendental knowledge as saintly. And Krishna understood that this was broken, so he actually appeared to give that science, re-establish that chain of succession. So there are 4 bona fide paramparas that Srila Prabhupada explains. Does anyone know? Tanya Mataji, I think you can talk about this better than me. You're muted. You're muted.
There are 4 paramparas. So the first parampara in which the knowledge was given to Lord Brahma, and from Lord Brahma it was given to Narad Muni, and from there on it has come, and we are in this parampara, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, or and in this the main guru is Madhavacharya, so also called Gaudiya Brahma Madhav Sampradaya. The second, yeah. So the second parampara in which this knowledge was given to Lakshmi Mataji, and she gave it to her disciples, and the main guru in this chain is Ramanujacharya, about whom Prabhupada writes a lot about Ramanujacharya. Then the third parampara is Rudra parampara, in which this knowledge was given to Lord Shiva and then to his disciples, and the main guru or the main person who grew this or gave this knowledge was Vishnu Swami. And the 4 Kumaras, this knowledge was given to the 4 Kumaras, in which Nimbarkacharya was the main guru.
So thank you, Mataji. So according to the Shastras, these are the 4 bona fide paramparas, or 4 deemed universities where science of Krishna can be learned. When we go to study in a university, the university has to be authorized. No, it cannot be fake. So the university where we can go to take shelter of Krishna has to be one of these 4. So the significance of parampara, Bhagavad Gita is coming directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is transcendental knowledge and must not be altered in any way. Like parampara maintains that continuity. The knowledge of Gita must be accepted without material interpretation or mental speculation, and must be understood by the mercy of God, and must be accepted from someone who has achieved the mercy of Krishna. This is the proper qualification, having learned it properly from someone having the proper qualification, who learned it properly, etc. Like we do in the college or university, that how do you know that your knowledge is authorized? Because your professor was authorized. How do you know your professor was authorized? Because their professor authorized them. How do you know? So you can go back. Okay, but if we become self-acclaimed guru, self-acclaimed what do you say, spiritualist or spiritual practitioner, the authenticity or validity is not that great. Krishna is God himself, but he accepted a spiritual master to set this example. What can be higher than that? And who was Krishna's spiritual master? Who was his guru in Gurukul? Deepani Muni, right? Who can teach Krishna, but to set an example, he did it. Then who are we? Beni Prasad Prabhu, your hand is up.
Yes. Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, these 4 acharyas, they wrote commentaries on Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, as well as Upanishads. That's why they were considered main acharyas in these 4 paramparas.
What is the meaning of the word acharya?
Acharya, this Acharya, this Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya or this Valbhacharya, and last one, that Nimbarkacharya. So I read this somewhere. So it was mentioned they wrote commentaries on this Prasthantraya. That's why they were considered the main acharyas.
I'm not sure what is the authenticity of that statement in context to what we are discussing here, but Acharya means what? Yes, help your classmate. What is the
Acharya means
meaning?
those who establish their own sampradaya.
One who teach
Like there
by
are
the
four
conduct.
sampradayas. So sampradaya can be, like there can be foundation which is based upon this Prasthantraya. That is Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, and last one Upanishads.
Vaishyaman Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So
That is
Acharya,
Mataji
let's
has
hear.
Prasthantraya, that is, yeah,
Let's
one more,
see.
that is Vaishnava talks about Srimad Bhagavatam, that is fourth one.
I think there's a need to redefine the definition of Acharya that you're saying.
Mataji,
And
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna,
what were
can
you
I
saying?
try?
Acharyas, those who teach by their conduct.
Okay, very
Yes.
nice. Okay. Supraja Mataji, what were you saying? I don't know who was it.
Same thing I was saying, Mataji. Those who teach us. Yeah.
Teachers how? Anybody teacher is Acharya?
No,
Mataji,
no.
they teach by
Particular
example. They
parampara.
live those teachings.
Yeah. Particular parampara. In a particular.
Madan Mohan Krishna Leela Das Prabhu.
Krishna Mataji, actually, Acharya is one who know the science of teaching. Like he is the actual representative of Krishna. He knows that thing how he want to deliver other people in the same way.
That's
How
the definition
Krishna
of a guru. Say Krishna Tattva Vitta, say Guru Hoy. Right? That's the definition of a guru, not Acharya. What you're saying. What's Acharya? There's a difference between
Mataji,
an Acharya and
Acharya is one who
Mataji, one
teaches
second.
by.
Let Mataji 1 second. Don't speak over him. Let him finish. Go ahead, Madan Mohan.
Mataji, Acharya means who follow the footprints of previous parampara, like coming from Krishna, how they established the things. They follow same thing to next generation as it is, without
Okay.
any hindrance.
Thank you. Okay. Shilpa Mataji, what were you saying?
Hare Krishna. Mataji, I was saying Acharyas are those who teach by living those principles. They live
Right.
that life.
Very nice. Thank you. So Acharya has a word achar. Achar means what? Achar prachar, right? Achar means what? Achar means conduct, example of their own life. So basically, Acharya is a person who is actually setting an example by their own example, by their own conduct, by their own life. Okay, that person is an Acharya. So all these Acharyas that are mentioned here are setting an example. Then we can say this is Guru, no? Why Acharya? Because they're setting an example by their own conduct, by their own, the way they live. For our conditioned soul, I think we discussed this last week, there is a gap between what is inside and what is outside. There is a gap. Different personalities exist, what we are from inside and what we are from outside. Yes? In some places, we are conducting ourselves in a different manner. In some places, there's different personality which comes out. There are polarities because there are different desires to be met. That's why this leads to a gap between inside and outside. Acharya has no gap. There's no duality. Okay, that person is an Acharya. An example is Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Vishnu Swami, or Nimbarkacharya. Those are examples, but that's not definition. Understand what is the meaning of definition and what is the meaning of an example. So, and in the example, they actually, one is called book Bhagavad and one is called person Bhagavad, right? Prabhupada explains this. So, book Bhagavad has to be understood from person Bhagavad. So, book Bhagavad, okay, we can read Srimad Bhagavatam, but if there is no person who is explaining, then it has no meaning. Parikshit Maharaj could have just read the book or could have just, but he actually approached the spiritual master to, could have just said, okay, I'm just going to meditate. Why I have to even hear Sukhdev Goswami? But he approached. So that way, we have, and Upanishads mean what? You see, you all say big words, but this is not going to be an easy class. You must know what you're saying. What is the meaning of the word Upanishad? What does Upanishad mean?
To sit close to the Guru Mataji.
Very nice. So the Upanishad means to sit close to a spiritual master, which means that to hear from the spiritual master. That is the meaning of the word Upanishad. I can write a Gita, you can write a Gita, but that will not be a Bhagavad Gita. Gita means song. Bhagavad Gita means song which is sung by Krishna. So we can all write our own Gitas, but I will not be Bhagavad Gita. That will be like, Prem Kishori Gita or Anvya Gita or Kirti Gita or something like that. So, so we have to study Bhagavad Gita. That's why we need a parampara. Okay, Veni Prasad Prabhu is the doubt dispelled. That's an example that they gave those commentaries and understanding for our understanding, but that doesn't mean that that is the only thing that they did. That's one of the many things that they did. All right, this was mentioned because Manu, here we wanted to emphasize that in one Divya Yuga, there is one cycle of Satyayug, Tretayug, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And then in one lifespan of Manu, there are 71 Divya Yugas. So basically, Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Dwapar Yuga is double of that. Treta Yuga is, so if Kali Yuga is X, Dwapar Yuga is 2x, Treta Yuga is 3x, Satya Yuga is 4x. So this total becomes how much? 4 and 3, 7 and 2, 9, and it's a 10x, right? So 10x. Now, 71 Divya Yugas is like 71 cycles of all these yugas is one life of Manu. And Krishna, and what is Brahma's day? 14 Manvantras and 15 Sandhyas. So life of Brahma, this calculation is given, is this much. Like 311 and 4 trillion years according to the Earth definition. That's like a day of Brahma, and then 36,000 kalpas is day of Brahma, and equal number of nights. So he lives for these many years, which appears to be infinite. Right? Anybody who can even think of living for so long, it appears infinite, but Prabhupada explains that this is a relative world. You put 50 upon 50, or you put up 5 million upon 5 million. The ratio is the same. So it's a relative world from where we are seeing Brahma's life. But in front of Krishna, it's nothing. It's just the same. So our Brahma has passed 50 years. So he's basically passed half of his lifespan so far. 6 manvantras are over. We're on the 7th manvantara. 27 cycles of 4 yugas are over. And Satya, Treta, and Dwapar Yuga are over. So we have gone through this Divya Yuga. These many years are over. And in Kali Yuga, 5,117 years are so far over out of 4,32,000 years. So how much time of Brahma has passed? 155.522 trillion years. Now, why are we calculating? Because Krishna says that he spoke this Bhagavad Gita to Vivasvan, who spoke it to Manu, who spoke it to Ikshvaku. So we're trying to calculate how many years has it passed since Bhagavad Gita was brought to earth or was spoken to Sun God. So our Manu is now this much. 27 cycles of 4 yugas are over. 9 and then Satya, Treta, Dwapar Yuga is over. So far we have passed through this much time in Kali Yuga. So the life of Manu is, you calculate all this, and this is the answer you get, 120.5331 million years. So accepting that before the birth of Manu, Gita was spoken by Lord to his disciple Sun God Vivasvan, because Vivasvan is father of Manu. So Gita was spoken over 120 million years ago to Vivasvan, who is the presiding Sun God. And there is a reference Prabhupada gives in the purport from Mahabharata. In the beginning of Treta Yuga, the science of relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivaswan to Manu. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this earth planet, and forefather of Raghu dynasty, in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in human society from the time of Maharaj Ikshvaku. So, Maharaj Ikshvaku appeared, Lord Ram appeared in which yuga? Out of Satya, Treta, Dwapar, which yuga?
Treta
Yuga.
Treta Yuga. Yeah, that's why this is written here as Treta and Dwapar. Okay, so Treta and Dwapar, these many years are over, and in Kali Yuga, these many years are over. So basically, Ikshvaku Manu, who comes in the dynasty of Lord Ram, potentially brought closest number we can come to in calculation, brought Bhagavad Gita to planet Earth 2 million years ago. So basically, we are reading this book, which was given to us over 2 million years ago. You see the legacy. Some people love to collect antiques, right? They love to have old things, and I know some people who actually love to show their collection of antiques, that this particular thing is 500 years old, 100 years old, and now you can show your antique, you can show your legacy. Now what will you say? How old is this? How old is this Bhagavad Gita?
Million.
1.2 million years
2
ago.
million years old.
2 million.
You say it was brought to us 2 million years ago. It was spoken to sun god and sun planet 120 million years ago, but it was brought to us 2 million years ago on planet Earth. Okay, so there's nothing which is more antique. So basically, we don't have to look for anything. And this is a wonderful calculation of 1 day of Brahma, which you can study. Okay, I'm not gonna spend time on this. The only reason is that the only reason why this has been emphasized is because one needs to understand the value of what we have. If we don't put correct value to what we have, we will not be able to relish it. You know, in Bhagavatam class in the morning, we were discussing India morning yesterday, that which will come in this chapter, 4th chapter, verse 40. Prabhupada talks about, not Prabhupada talks about in a different context, but it comes here that person who does not come to Krishna consciousness is unfortunate. Okay, that person is unfortunate. Having obtained the human form of life, did not come to Krishna consciousness. Person who comes to Krishna consciousness is fortunate. A person who comes to Krishna consciousness and does not take its full advantage is most unfortunate. So we need to understand what we have to avoid becoming most unfortunate. Okay. Then Krishna goes on, Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhakta si me sakha cheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. Question can be raised. Krishna is saying that he's re-speaking this knowledge to re-establish the chain of parampara. But question can be raised that what makes him choose Arjun? Right? He could have chosen anyone else. What makes him choose Arjun? So this is the reason. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is told by me to you is today told by me to you because you are my devotee, my friend, and therefore you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So what is the quality of Arjun? He's a devotee and friend, and he accepts Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is, I took from the puppet when I made these slides a few years ago. This is the qualification. Okay. Some people say that bhakti is a very passive process. Passive process, why? Because, okay, whenever God wants, I will become God conscious. If God doesn't want, I will never become God conscious. Have you heard statements like this? Whenever God
Yes,
wants,
Mataji.
I will become God conscious, and if He doesn't want, I'll not become God conscious. So that's a very passive view of bhakti. There's a lot of role being played by God. But here, Krishna, who is God, is saying that why I'm choosing you, because you're my devotee and friend. So devotee and friend are very active words. They're not passive. It's not just sitting there. Devotee means he's doing something. No, it's not just sitting and not doing anything. For example, if somebody says that I am a parent of this particular child, just by saying parent, now does it mean that okay, now the child is sitting in one corner of the house and the parent is sitting in another corner of the house, and there is no interaction, no reciprocation, no relationship? It's just a namesake relation. Is it like that, or is there activity behind that relationship?
Lots of activity.
Lots of activity, lifelong activity, yes. So like that, when we say, when Krishna says, Arjun, you're my devotee, it automatically means that there is action behind it. Friend, now if you say somebody's your friend or you're friend of somebody, is there action involved in that relationship, or it's just like a stamp, rubber stamp, like a birth certificate? Or is there activity involved to sustain and maintain that relation?
Some activity and some reciprocation also we expect, Mataji. Yes.
Yeah, so it means that Arjun is chosen because he has proven himself to be a devotee of Krishna and a friend of Krishna, and he is accepting Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Can we become like this? Yes. Do we want to become like this? I don't know. That's a personal question each one of us have to answer. But can we become like this? Yes, the ability is there. But do we want to become like this? You need to answer it for yourself. Okay. So Arjun now raises a doubt at this stage. And this is Arjun's question. I don't think Arjun asked any more question in this chapter. Not that I can recall at this point. But he asked this question. How can Krishna, born a son of Devaki, instruct Vivaswan who's millions of years old? Arjuna vacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha katham etad vina vijani yam tvam ado proktavan iti. Arjun said, the sun god Vivasvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? No, Arjun is not accepting. Now, Arjun is asking this question. Why? Because is he doubtful? Because Krishna just validated that you're my friend, you're my devotee, and you have accepted me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Immediately after that, he's asking this. Is he doubting? He's not doubting. But he wants to defy demoniac and atheistic people who say Krishna is ordinary. And he wants Krishna to speak more authoritatively. This is just to keep Krishna speaking. We bring this discussion even in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Damodar Leela. You know, after Damodar Leela is ascribed to Parikshit Maharaj by Sukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj is interested in knowing about the future of Arjun, the past and future of Arjuna trees, right? Krishna breaks those two Arjuna trees, and then these two personalities come out, which are the sons of Kuver, Manikriva and Nalakuvera. And Parikshit Maharaj asked question to Sukdev Goswami that what did Manikriva and Nalakuvera do that they had to stand for thousands and millions of years as two trees. Now there is a discussion in that particular verse or pastime that what makes Parikshit Maharaj ask this question right now, because when there is discourse about the pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead going on, why is one becoming eager to hear about somebody's insulting acts? This question is raised there. Like, what it's not very nice to want to hear about somebody's insulting acts which led them to get punished. So what makes Parikshit Maharaj speak that? Is Parikshit Maharaj committing an offense? That's the question raised. So like that, we can raise it here, that is Arjun doubting Krishna's authenticity and authority? So it's not. So over there, the answer is because Parikshit Maharaj, if asked this question, so that Sukdev Goswami will keep on talking about Krishna in Damodar Leela for some more time. And Arjun and Parikshit Maharaj is very much interested in keeping his meditation on Krishna in Damodar Leela for some more time. So there will be like mention of Krishna in Damodar Leela for some more time. Like that, Arjun is talking about this question, not because he's doubting Krishna's authority or Krishna's authenticity, but because he wants Krishna to speak and establish his authority. He wants, Krishna wants to glorify his devotees and his devotees want to glorify him. Prabhupada explains in Bengali, this is called, does anyone know what is it called? When Krishna wants to glorify his devotees and the devotee want to glorify Krishna, and there's a competition going on between Krishna and his devotees, who's going to glorify who the most. This is called as what? In Bengali, Prabhupada mentions. Nobody knows. Dua lage hura huri. That's what Prabhupada says. So Krishna reveals his position from verse 5 to 10. How could you tell Bhagavad Gita to sun God Vivaswan if he's seen by birth to you? Parantapa, O subduer of enemy, one who gives to others transcendental knowledge. So Krishna is addressed as Parantapa, right? Shri Bhagavan Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tav cha arjuna tani aham veda sarvani natvam vetta parantapa. Personality of Godhead said, many births, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tav arjuna. Many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them. But you cannot, O subduer of enemy. Why do we not remember? What is the reason for losing the memory? Krishna says he remembers, but Arjun doesn't remember. What makes us forget?
Mataji, in the 15th chapter, Krishna himself says that I am the source of your remembrance, of your forgetfulness. So he's the one who purposefully makes us forget so that we cannot handle too much of sorrow, maybe if given in one lifetime. So he tries to make us, definitely, I mean, he's wanting us to forget everything. So that's my understanding, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
There is this, thank you, Mataji. There is this Tattvadarshi, right? Tattva. So, the pure devotee of Krishna is called Tattvadarshi. Why are they not called Sattvadarshi? Krishna is truth, right? Absolute truth that can be also called Satya, Sattva, right? What is the difference between Sattva and Tattva? What makes Krishna choose the word Tattvadarshi and not Sattvadarshi? So what does Tattvadarshi mean? What does Tattva mean? Yes. You guys don't think when you read, why can't we remember? Okay, Kirti Mataji said because Krishna says in 15th chapter of Gita, Mattasmriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha, by me comes forgetfulness, remembrance, and knowledge. So Krishna makes us forget. But makes us forget, but a Tattvadarshi is a person who does not forget, because the three domains of time in material world are past, present, and future. So a pure devotee of Krishna is Tattvadarshi, means they know what is the past, they know what is the present, and they also know what is the future. They don't forget. But we forget. Why? One reason. Somebody wants to talk?
Mataji, yeah.
Okay. You continue. Continue, Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna Mataji, because we are very minute, like Anu, and Krishna is Vibhu. So our memory compared to Krishna is very, very less. And
Okay,
as
this
a
is
living
interesting.
entity, we are conditioned to forget.
Okay, memory is less, but then our experience is also less, na? If the memory is like, we are not so experienced as Krishna. So
Because
why can't we
when
remember that much?
when we like death is like a sleep, you forget everything.
But why is we forget?
Because you're changing your body so many
Yes.
times. Krishna is not changing his body, so he remembers everything.
Very nice. Because of the
Mataji,
change.
One more point. Our mind and intellect is contaminated by mundane activities. Therefore, we forget about Lord Krishna.
Very nice. Okay, thank you. You see, change. Prabhupada, we. Go ahead, Madan Mohan.
one more point we can add, Mataji. If we are, we will remember all the dhammas like our parents rules continuously, then we will be mad because we are not that capable to handle all these two logics that who is our real parents in the previous class, next class. So Krishna wants to omit it from your mind, so you can forget it only for this class only and to continue with only. If you continuously remember in your past, you will really be bewildered and you do not focus on everything to do. So maybe that's the points that Krishna wants to
Thank you.
omit it.
Thank you very much. Very nice. Yeah. So yes, all the points taken. Thank you. So basically we change. Krishna does not change. It's not a growth. You know, in pediatrics, we study this chapter called growth and development. But I want to rename the chapter after reading Prabhupada books to change and development, not growth and development, because we change. And because we change, we forget what was there before.
Mataji, there is one more verse in the same chapter, this verse number 9, where Krishna is same.
Yeah,
like we have got soul and body. Body is mortal and soul is immortal. But Bhagwan Krishna is same. There is no difference.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay, so Krishna says many births, both of us have passed, but you cannot remember, but I remember. And then he continues, Ajo pisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvaro pisan prakritim swa adhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Although I'm unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I'm the lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Actually, this reminds me, I missed one thing in verse number 1. This is avyayam, right? The word is avyayam. 1 second. In verse number 1, Krishna talks about avyayam. See this word, avyayam? This word is used multiple times in this chapter. Prokta van aham avyayam. And again, he uses this word in this particular chapter, in this particular verse, 4.6. Sorry. Avyayam. So what does avyayam mean? Bhutanam ishvaro apisan, ajo apisan avyayatma. What does avyayam mean? What did you read?
And there is no transformation, no change at all.
Not
So Bhagwan
changing,
remains
okay?
same. And we get different stages of our body, but till death.
Okay.
There are 6 stages.
Thank
So
you.
Bhagwan doesn't have all these stages. He has got single stage, which is transcendental.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Imperishable.
Yes, so not so you see Prabhupada's words, the more you read Bhagavad Gita, the more you get fascinated. Prabhupada is using the word avyayam and he's translating, Krishna is using the word avyayam and Prabhupada is translating it as imperishable. But he's not discussing it as indestructible. Why imperishable? Prabhupada is giving the translation as imperishable. What does perish mean? Perish means, so I'll give you an example. I think we discussed this. I remember vividly in the beginning, you know, age-old years when we started these sessions in past life, right? This class, so where we discussed that, okay, perish. Now let's say, I think it happens in most of the houses, if not all of the houses, that there is some fruit on the table. And then people in the house look at the fruit every day and say, today, it will be the day when this fruit will go inside my body. Today is the day when I'm going to eat. And the day goes on. Yeah. And then what happens? The fruit, does it happen in your life? Does it happen or has it ever happened? If not, then have you seen it happening in someone else's life? Are we all collective in this experience?
It gets rotten Mataji, over time. It gets rotten waiting for them to eat it, yes.
So it perishes. So what does perish mean? Because the fruit is still there. So what does it perish mean? Perish means that a fresh fruit has a quality. I'm giving example. It has a quality of nurturing, giving nutrients, right? Giving taste, and adding on to the well-being of the one's existence. That, but then the same fruit, when left for many days, perishes, means it loses its quality. It loses its quality of being rich in nutrients and being able to contribute to the well-being of the person who is going to consume it. So it's not destroyed, it's perish. So like that, our body perishes first and then gets destroyed, which means it loses its quality in the sense material body, material gross and subtle body loses its quality of remembering more, of having good vision, good hearing. Like we slowly deteriorates, right? And then that at the time of death, it just gets destroyed. So, but Krishna is saying he's Avyayatma. Avyayatma means imperishable. Prabhupada is translating imperishable means it never loses its quality, always stays the same. Understood the difference is a very subtle, it's a nuance. It's a very subtle difference between the word perish or destroy. Why is Prabhupada, I thought about it one time, why is Prabhupada not using destroy? Why imperishable? Why not destroy? And then my light bulb went off one day. So, did you understand what is happening here? Never deteriorates. This is what Avyayatma here means. And although I'm the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. So, difference between Krishna body and us. I think I can only do till this much because I have to get going. Krishna's form is spiritual. Our spiritual is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means what? Jaldi bolo. Sat means what?
Eternal.
Eternal, not subjected to the principles of time factor, past, present, future. Chit means what? Hare. Chit means what?
Blissful.
And then what does Ananda mean?
Consciousness.
Chit means full of knowledge. Yes. So in literal way, Chit means it's full of knowledge. And Ananda means full of bliss. Now, what is the body of a conditioned soul? Asat, Achit, and Nirananda. so, but so this is what is explained. So the soul is covered by a subtle body and a gross body. There is soul, and it has assumed the covering. Prabhupada explains sometimes as person who's wearing a shirt and a coat. So the shirt is compared to the subtle body and coat is compared to the gross body. But Krishna's body is not like that. Krishna's body is Sachidananda. There is no gap between what's spiritual and what's what's the material. There's no gap there. Then Krishna is controlling Maya. He's controlling Maya, right? And Prakriti is say Gunan is Iva. So he's controlling Maya. And we are controlled by Maya. So we can actually never become God. And the more we realize the responsibilities and roles of what it entails to become God, it's tiring. So this is, I will share this table. I know I have to share the slides because you do have a question like this in your exam book. Difference between Krishna and the conditioned living entities. So Krishna is eternal, remembers past, present, future. Achita means never forgets or infallible. Conditioned living entity is eternal but forgets, and we discussed why it forgets, because it changes body, changes its position. Krishna remembers all births because body does not change or deteriorate. Avyayam. And I think I gave a lecture on what is Avyayam, what is imperishable and indestructible. Will you remember it? Or you will also change now? Class over, raat gayi, baat gayi, class over, everything over. Or will you
Fruit
remember
example
it
was
and
good,
carry it forward?
Oh yes, the fruit example was very good, Mataji. Very relatable. That we will definitely remember it.
Remember, and then how will you remember it? By passing it over, not by keeping it locked in your locker. Okay, you have to give it to others to remember it. Okay, so conditioned living entity forgets when the body changes and deteriorates. Krishna appears by his own will, Avyayatma, or he's called Avatar. but we are forced to appear by karma. Krishna's body is transcendental. We discussed Sachidananda. A conditioned living entity has assumed a body which is Asat, Achit, and Nirananda. Then there is no difference between Krishna and his body and self. This is called Advaita. And soul acquires an external body. So these are some of the differences. Very subtle, but when you start writing an answer, nothing comes in the head. So it's important that you know this. Okay, I think we can carry from here, and I can finish till verse number 20. What is the third section? Section number 3. Sorry. Till what verse is section 3 is what is my question.
15, I think, Mataji.
Section 3 is verse 24. Yeah, okay. So next class we'll finish till section 24 because it'll go very quick. Initial stage is little difficult. And one verse which I really want all of you to request to emphasize and read very nicely before you come for the next class is 4.10. You read all the verses, but 4.10 is something where I have which is basically, to me, it appears like a center, the heart of the chapter, for so many reasons. It actually changes one's purview. Okay, I apologize, but I have to